The anticipation just builds and builds with every day. It's WrestleMania week. We are just days away from the granddaddy of them all, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. This is Squared Circle Radio, and we are here to get you ready to go. Yesterday we previewed night one. Today we're going to preview night two, give you all of our predictions, all the things that you need to know headed into WrestleMania. Who is we? Well, that's the Young Buck Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher. We are here for you each and every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you find your podcast, and on the YouTube channel. If you're watching our smiling faces, hit that thumbs up button. That like button really helps the show out. We would appreciate it. Andy, night one is seemingly in the books, sort of. Night two is on the horizon, but still lots and lots to talk about.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. I mean, that's the beauty of 2 nights of WrestleMania now, is not everything is crammed together, and we get to tell stories like this now. So it's very interesting to watch this year's WrestleMania unfold. But night one, I feel like, is going to be the show that everybody is looking forward to the most. I think night two is going to be the show that everybody's going to be talking about after we get done with WrestleMania.
You know, I remember vividly walking out of AT&T Stadium, WrestleMania 38, with you.
Yep.
And the first thing we said was, there's one more night to go.
Yeah. As Austin's music is playing in the arena and everything else, we're like, we got one more night to go.
There's
like,
still another night to go. Like, I feel like, and last year, I feel like we said that too. I was in the building. Yeah. You were not. But still, like, the way that WrestleMania went off the air night one last year, man, it just super excited for night two. Now this year, as we saw on Monday Night Raw this past week, and as we talked about yesterday, night one might not have the same uplifting ending that we would like.
Yeah.
Or it does. Who knows?
Who knows? That's the thing that's very interesting is, so we started doing 2 nights, not counting the pandemic year, right? 37, 38, 39, this is 40. So 37, Bianca won. So the babyface won their night one.
Yep.
38, Austin beat Owen. So there's your big babyface thing. Last year, Sammy and KO beat the Usos. So there's your big babyface thing. All the other ones ended with a Roman Reigns retaining. So if this year, if the Bloodline win night one, I'm just saying they're doing, I think they are doing these things. These things are not being done by coincidence for them. I think this is happening for this very moment. Because we said it going into WrestleMania 30, they make these every 10-year Manias feel like big, big deals.
Yep.
And this one is no different.
No different. It is XL, not just the Roman numeral 40. It is XL for a reason. We are super stoked for it. If this is your first time checking out our show and you're wondering what in the world are these guys doing, listen, we're just a couple guys that love wrestling. We're just going to sit and talk about wrestling. We're going to be here for you all week long. We dropped episodes on Monday, Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. We got shows tomorrow, Friday. And then we're doing a live show after WrestleMania both nights. Andy and I are going to get together at my house and watch it. We're going to come right here, right on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed. That way that you get a notification whenever we go live and we talk about all this stuff. We are super excited. If you cannot tell, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Andy, let's get into the night 2 card, and let's start with the main event, man. Let Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns rematch of last year's WrestleMania. Not too many times, Andy, have we seen back-to-back WrestleManias where we have seen the same exact match, especially for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. The one that comes to mind right now is Bret Hart and Yokozuna, WrestleMania 9 and 10.
I mean, we've seen the same guy go after it, but not the same matchup.
Not the same match.
31-32 was Roman going for it twice, but it was against different people.
Right. We've seen Cena go after it twice or defend it, but it was against different people. So this is interesting, man. It's very, very interesting. We said it on yesterday's show. We feel like a lot of attention is being put on the tag team match on night number 1 for good reason. Yeah. But it all leads to night number 2. It all leads to not just Cody's story, but Cody's redemption story. We all know what happened last year. Can he finish the story this year? We both picked the Bloodline to win night number 1. After watching Monday Night Raw and after letting that settle in, are you sticking with that prediction? And how does that transition into night number 2?
Yeah, I don't see where it would make a lot of sense. Well, I'll say this. Whoever wins night 1 is not winning night 2.
Absolutely not. There's no way.
So if Cody and Seth win night 1, then I am real nervous going into night 2, just to be completely honest with you. However, with that being said, I think they're beating down Cody and Seth for as much of the adversity as they want to tell their stories on night 2. Because you got to remember, Seth's story going into it is with Drew.
Yep.
So that gives him possibly a reason as to why he lost his title.
Yep.
And then going in for Cody, he has had all the cards stacked against him for over a year and possibly finally getting his moment. So I don't see any way that the Bloodline do not win night 1.
Okay. Let's say they win night number 1 and we're looking at night number 2. We're not making the prediction.
Right.
But it's Bloodline rules. We saw Monday Night Raw what happens to Bloodline rules. Apparently the match doesn't even finish. So if we get a non-finish at WrestleMania,
can't even win.
That doesn't even happen. Who knows? We saw the battle between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. We saw the production truck shot. You've predicted the Avengers ending, and all of the baby faces come out to help Cody and, clear the ring of the Bloodline. I think that can happen, man, but just a lot of stuff can happen in this match. We said it on yesterday's podcast, man. Don't feel like a lot of attention has been put on this singular match, but maybe that's because of what's going to happen night 1 makes this one feel bigger.
Yeah, listen, I think if this is a Bloodlines rule match, it is going to be insanely overbooked.
Yep.
I mean, insanely overbooked. And I mean that in the best way possible. I don't mean that as like a dog and get or anything like that. I want this to go, because we've seen some overbooked matches that are horrible. But then we've seen some other ones where it's like, this is the most fun, and this is just pop after pop after pop. And so I could see a scenario where if we do the Avengers style, people come down to help Cody, I don't think anyone should touch Roman. I think the only one to touch Roman is Cody, because I think you want to make sure Cody is the one to beat Roman by himself.
Sure.
However, I do think you have everyone else that is coming out to help. If they do this, run off Solo, run off Jimmy, run off The Rock. And you just leave
whoever else.
You leave Cody by himself. Yeah, and you just leave him by himself. Because I mean, there's a way that Drew could get involved in this still.
Yes.
So I think there's a chance we see, I predicted Jimmy wins. Mm-hmm. And so him coming out there, Jay coming out to run him off, I think that could lead to SummerSlam. Even between those two, we do this again at SummerSlam between Jimmy and Jay, or even at Backlash if you wanted to.
Yep.
I mean, Roman's got history with Cena. Rock's got history with Cena. Rock's got history with Austin. I mean, if Austin's music hits, I'm never going to be disappointed to hear that the glass shatter. And here comes Austin.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different stories. Kevin Owens can come out. Sami Zayn could come out. There's so many things that you could
Randy Orton could come out.
Randy Orton could come out. I think if Randy comes out, I'm a little nervous because I think he could go after Cody, could just turn heel just to turn heel.
Very true. Very true.
But I think this is going to be overbooked. I just hope they if Cody wins, Cody needs to be the one to beat Roman definitively. No help. They can help run off the Bloodline, but they do not need to touch Roman.
Are you okay with? And let's go ahead and get this prediction out of the way, and then we'll come back and we'll predict it rapid fire at the end and just recap it. Let's get this prediction out of the way, though. Let's say that Cody Rhodes wins. I know he's your lock of WrestleMania. That Cody Rhodes wins. I've gone back and forth for a long, long time. I'm still going to go back and forth before Sunday. Let me just tell you right now. But I'll go ahead and say that I think Cody's going to win.
Yep.
If the cavalry comes in and clears the Bloodline, and they don't touch Roman and they don't touch Cody. And then the cavalry clears and then they wrestle for a good 5 to 7 more minutes. And Cody wins. I know that there's this stigma of The Rock holding up Roman's hand at the end of the Royal Rumble 2015 that a lot of people are sour on. And I know that a lot of people want Cody to make sure he finishes his story by himself. Would you then be okay with, after the 3 count, the babyfaces come in to celebrate with Cody? I know he needs his moment, but after that, do they come in to celebrate with him?
I think so, for one reason only. And I think we actually this is our pass, because I don't think we're ever going to get this match, unfortunately. But I think this could be the passing of the torch moment between Cena and Cody.
Yeah.
Of Cena raising Cody's hand. I think if Austin is there and raises Cody's hand, it's solidifying Cody as this generation's guy.
Yep.
This is the guy.
I'm thinking like Great American Bash 1990 or Starrcade 97, where the baby faces lift up Sting on their shoulders, lift up Cody, do the cheesy old school, this is our guy kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I would be fine with that, because I mean, even with like running down and getting involved, look at Mankind when he won the title.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt him at all.
Right.
Even though Austin came out and basically took care of everybody else in that whole thing. So I think that doesn't matter as long as no one touches Roman. Cody definitively beats him, and then establish him as the top guy in the company now by having Cena and Austin and Jay and even Seth, even if you want to do a turn at some point down the line, or even Randy or somebody, just have them out there to celebrate with him, to establish this is the guy now.
Yep. All right. So let's say Cody wins. We've got that out of the way. What's next for Cody? If Cody wins, we a good chance that he has a rematch with Roman at Backlash. Okay, probably. Cool. But who's next for Cody?
The first one that pops in mind is AJ.
Okay, I like that.
I think Cody AJ would be really interesting. Could take you up to SummerSlam, where then you could do Cody Randy. Mm-hmm. You could do. I'm trying to think of who all is where. I think at some point we're going to get a Cody Nick Aldis match. I just really do. That may just be me praying that into existence, because I would love to see that. I think we're not done with Cody Seth. I think Seth could turn heel and come back after Cody. I think we could do Gunther at some point, because they have history. I think there's a lot of guys that you could have. I mean, Braun Breaker. I don't even think Braun needs to win necessarily.
Yeah. But
you could have a Darby Allin-esque moment with Braun Breaker where he doesn't win, but he gets put over as this guy is going to be a star.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of options for Cody post-Mania.
I do too. I think Gunther is probably the guy to take the title from Cody. So I don't see that one right away, because I think Cody needs to have a lengthy reign. Maybe that's WrestleMania 41. Cody and Gunther. Gunther gets his moment at WrestleMania.
I'd be all right with that, yeah.
I think that would be very interesting. But I think the first opponent for Cody is a newly turned heel, Sami Zayn. I think that these moments of Sami Zayn just falling short. And Cody's always been the one to pat him on the back. It's all right, Sammy. Attaboy, you're doing fine. And then Sammy snaps and attacks Cody. That's my feud. I think that would be very interesting.
Yeah, my only thing with Sammy is I think we're heading to a Sammy Chad Gable feud post-Mania. With either Chad being a heel or Sammy being a heel. I also think we need to get Kevin Owens versus Cody for the title at some point too.
I would love that. I would love
a heel
that.
Kevin Owens would be fantastic in this spot.
Especially if Cody ends up going to SmackDown. I think that would be very, very interesting.
Tell you what, another one. Logan Paul. Cody and Logan Paul would be really fun. It would be really fun.
Yes, it would. That could be your SummerSlam match, honestly. If we don't get like Cody Rock or we don't get Cody Randy, Cody Logan Paul. I mean, that could sell a Saudi show too. But Cody Logan Paul would be a lot of fun. That's a good call.
SummerSlam's in Cleveland.
Oh, for sure. But I don't know that you want to put Cody in that position of going up against the hometown guy.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't think they'd boo Cody, but
I think that's where we get a Miz Logan Paul rematch, probably.
Yeah, you could do that, or throw Johnny
Cleveland
Gargano.
on Cleveland.
Throw Johnny Gargano in there somehow, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the other world title match. Both world title matches. This is interesting too, man. Both world title matches on the same night, obviously for good reason. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Lots of twists and turns with this story as well. You got Drew talking to Paul Heyman last Monday. Who knows how that's going to turn out? You mentioned on yesterday's show, Drew could get involved in the night 1 or night 2 match. You got the fact of CM Punk and all this. What's your take on all this and the way they've built this, especially with Drew calling out Seth for not paying attention to him?
Yeah, so this is why I loved last week's episode of Raw so much, is because, to be real honest with you, I did not care a lot about Seth and Drew at Mania this year. Because Seth has been so involved in the Bloodline storyline, and Drew has been so involved with Punk.
And we've seen Seth and Drew, 3 times in the last 6 months? Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's going to be great. Drew's absolutely going to win. It's just going to be whatever. We're going to move on.
Yep. And
then last Monday happened. And Drew, honestly, and I know you're going to laugh at me because I'm the CM Punk guy, so it's fine. Okay. Drew and Seth needed Punk. To heat that moment up, to heat this feud up, to have him on commentary just add so much more to this match than was already there. I still think there's a really good chance Drew wins and goes immediately to the commentary table and stands up on the table holding that title up. And there's your SummerSlam feud, is Drew and Punk for the title.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Punk didn't get involved in the match. I would love it if Drew won, stood on there, Punk sits back, takes his arm brace off, and just attacks Drew and just goes right after him. I think that would be fantastic as well. But adding Punk to commentary has added a lot to this.
I would love to see Punk's involvement if he's on commentary. The referee gets knocked out. Punk unzips his hoodie and he's wearing a referee shirt. I don't know how sanctioned it is or whatever, but it'd be hilarious. I think that
would be great.
That would be so cool. Yeah, I think yeah, you're the CM Punk guy, and yeah, I give you a hard time for that sometimes, but I think you're right. I think he added such a nice layer to this because it was supposed, Punk revealed on the Ariel Helwani show that it was supposed to be Punk and Rollins. So we're probably headed that way for WrestleMania 41. Drew is a nice stopgap for both of those guys. Maybe we get a triple threat at SummerSlam between these guys. You know what I mean?
That would be so good.
Where was that on a bingo card like a year ago, right?
I don't know, but I am all for it at this point.
Oh, my gosh. But no, dude, Drew in that promo, his line about Punk not ever doing drugs or drinking, but always staying in rehab. Oh, it was so good.
And then Punk coming back when he did the Chosen line. Yeah. Who made you the Chosen one? Go ahead, say his name. Like all of that. That whole segment was the definition of a train wreck in the best way possible. Because I want to say 90% of that was not even scripted.
Probably not.
That was just them going out there being like, boys, keep it clean, sort of, but go have fun. Yeah. Like just go have fun. And they did. When Seth said that's his counting arm, guys, I don't think you could count, and instantly Punk went down and counted with his left hand. Just perfect stuff. Absolutely perfect.
It was very, very good. Yeah, it's great that WWE has found a great way to utilize Punk being injured, still being involved in WrestleMania, all the things. So that's great. I'm like you. I would rather have seen Rollins Punk, of course. I don't really want to see Rollins Drew again. Drew seems to be the slam dunk to win. Seems like we're headed towards a Cody Rhodes win. It's probably that time. But the thing lurking in the background is Damian Priest and the Money in the Bank briefcase. Do you think something happens at night 2 because he's on the night 1 card? He's not on night 2. So do you think something happens here? Do we wait till the night after? Does it happen at all?
I'll say this. I don't think it happens at all.
Okay.
I think if it does happen, he is not winning the title. However, and this bit me on the butt last year, so hopefully it's not going to bite me in the butt again this year. I think there's like a 0% chance he cashes in on Cody, because that just, to me, again, does not make a lot of sense storyline wise and everything. I think it would be really interesting if he cashed in on Drew.
Yep.
With all of their, because listen, War Games, they were teammates in War Games and all of this other stuff. So that would be really interesting. I think if Judgment Day does not win the tag titles, which you predicted they wouldn't win night one, I think there's a really good chance he might try to cash in night two.
Does he make it a triple threat? Does he wait till one of the guys wins? Here's something. Does he try to cash in and CM Punk stops him?
I could see that. I could see that. Here's the thing, though. If he doesn't do it at Mania, when's he going to do it?
It's true.
Because he's only got, 2 months left until he loses that contract?
Till June.
2 or 3 months?
Money in the Bank's in June.
3 months? Something like that? Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know. The Money in the Bank normally is great. The last 2 years has been a debacle.
It's been one of Triple H's struggles is booking this Money in the Bank stuff, and I don't know why, but it is. All right, we'll get back to a prediction there in a minute. We'll nail something down for sure. I know we tossed a lot of things around. Let's go with what I think should open the night. Lots of rumors that Rollins and Drew will open the night. What I think should open the night, I called it a couple weeks ago. LA Knight and AJ Styles. I think the best way to open night number 2 is hit LA Knight's music. That pop will be insane. The people will be ready for it. And you got 2 veterans, who are they're going to tear the house down. It's going to be a lot of fun. Having said that, as much as we love AJ Styles, I'm wearing his t-shirt.
Yep.
Seems like he might let us down a little bit at WrestleMania.
Yeah, his
track record at WrestleMania is not good.
I'll say this. His best match at Mania is with Shane McMahon.
Yes.
And that's saying something.
Yep.
The Jericho match was great. It was good.
Yep.
The Jericho win was very stupid. That was definitely like you're not a WWE guy. You're going to lose at your first Mania.
The Orton match was fine.
When that happened?
35.
Oh, yeah. I even forgot that happened.
35. And then the Undertaker match, I kind of can't count because it was...
Yeah, it's cinematic. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Did he wrestle at 37?
37, he and Omos won the tag titles against New Day.
Oh, yeah. 38 was with Edge, which was a disaster from the beginning when he got busted open by his own pyro.
No, was it? No. Well, the stage busted him open. Man, I don't know. I hope this is as fun as I want it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have really done a great job of making this feud personal and giving LA Knight another layer to his character.
Well, I said it last week that this feels like an Attitude Era feud.
Yeah.
Of LA Knight, definitely, you can tell. I mean, him beating up AJ in his own front yard gave me a lot of flashbacks to Austin beating up Booker T in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like just little things like that of Triple H busting in Randy Orton's house, things like that. So I think they're really building this up. I want this to be not even great. I just want this to be good. I just want them to go out there and do their thing because we know both guys are really capable. LA Knight has this stigma about him from a lot of quote unquote wrestling fans that he's not that great in the ring.
Yeah.
But then he goes out there and kind of proves that he's not a Seth Rollins or a Cody Rhodes, but he's still pretty good. He can hold his own in there. And AJ Styles is a generational guy.
Yep.
He's up there with Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson as one of the best in-ring of this generation, one of the best in-ring of all time.
Yep.
And so I think he can go out there and have a great match with LA Knight too. It just, my question is, who needs this win more, LA Knight or AJ Styles?
Man, you and I have been asking that question since they booked this match. I still don't have an answer for you.
I don't either. I think they both need it. They need it in different ways, which is really wild. Like AJ just needs a win, a single win. He needs a win. But LA Knight winning at Mania would just push him to that next level that he probably needs to get to.
I'm going to paint a scenario for you that you might not like. there's always a match or two on WrestleMania that doesn't end like it should. There's always a wonky finish.
Yeah.
What if this is a double count out? What if these two guys just try to beat the snot out of each other? They're going through the crowd, they're doing all, and it's a double count out.
Yeah, I hate double countouts anyway.
I know.
But especially at Mania.
Yeah.
It was just I think if you do that, you're adding to AJ's reputation at WrestleMania of not being great.
That's true.
And I just don't think it leaves a good taste in people's mouth to want to see more. Because it didn't really work with Nakamura and AJ. It didn't really work with Joe and AJ when they tried it.
Yep.
So I think we need to get a definitive winner. And I think if you're gonna do AJ Cody post Mania, then AJ absolutely needs to win this.
Yep. Depends on where you're going with LA Knight too.
Exactly. Like, what's LA Knight going to do after this? Is he going to go after Logan Paul in the U.S. Championship, which I would be fine with? I think that's a great next step for him. I don't know where he goes from here.
You know, here's something we have not talked about, man. We're addressing this Money in the Bank stuff. We're addressing what's next for Cody. You know, let's say that Damian Priest fails at his cash-in, like you mentioned. What if LA Knight goes to Raw and goes after Drew McIntyre?
I'd be all right with that.
Like, you know, that's something we haven't talked about yet. What if that happens?
Well, I think, you know what? I also think, speaking of Money in the Bank, give it to AJ. Let AJ be the Mr. Money in the Bank for a year, because him as a heel character with that Money in the Bank briefcase is the first actual threat to win the world title since Big E won it in 2021.
Yep.
And so that really makes it feel legit again.
Yep.
And him cashing in on Cody, or let's say Drew goes, or LA Knight goes over to Raw, beats Drew for the world title somehow.
Boom.
AJ cashes in on LA Knight.
Yep.
Like, it all kind of comes full circle at that point. But
and then you could get AJ versus CM Punk.
Oh, please.
Right?
I need Punk and AJ. I need Punk and LA Knight. That would be, those promos between Punk and LA Knight would be fantastic.
That would be so good. Lots of different directions we can go with LA Knight and AJ Styles. I don't think we're going to be able to, Andy, I don't think there's ever going to be a definitive answer, even when the match is over, as to who needs this win more. Because if LA Knight wins, we're going to sit here and say, well, what's next for AJ? Why can't AJ win one now? If LA Knight doesn't win, well, what are we doing with LA Knight? Why are we not pushing him to the moon? Like, you know, we've dropped the ball, whatever. We're going to criticize this no matter what happens. I'm like you, though. I just hope it's a great match. You mentioned Logan Paul. Let's talk about that one. Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, triple threat match for the U.S. title. I'm still not crazy about this match in particular. The wrestlers will be good. The in-ring competition will be good. I'm just not really thrilled with the way we got here. You know, like I don't know. It's just something doesn't feel right with it.
I did like the segment Friday where Randy saw Logan crawl into the ring. I did. I really enjoyed that. And he was like, "Oh, he's right over here. Let me just roll out and go get him."
Yeah.
This one, like, to me, is very simple of who's going to win.
Yes.
Again, it's kind of the theme of some of these matches. I think we kind of know where Randy's heading after Mania. At some point, he has to have a one-on-one match with Cody. Like, that has to happen at some point.
Yep.
Where do you go with Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
Like, what does Kevin Owens do post-Mania at this point? Does he go after... I mean, we haven't seen KO and Gunther go at it. That would be really interesting.
It's a good challenger. Yep.
KO going after AJ or LA Knight or something. I don't know what's next for Kevin Owens if he does not win here.
I don't either, man. I like it. It just seems like... I know he had a couple of injuries around Rumble time and all that kind of stuff, so it's been interesting the way they've booked him. I'm like you, man. I don't know. I don't.
And he may have been in the last 2 years of Mania. And we're sitting here talking about where does it go from here?
Yeah. It feels like they didn't know what to do with Randy and Kevin Owens for WrestleMania, and this is just what they came up with. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm with you, though. I think that is an easy one as to who's going to win, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's go to the other women's championship match. Bayley and Io Sky. The one that, as you guys said last week on the podcast, not getting the spotlight, getting overshadowed by Rhea and Becky. Still should be a pretty fun match. I feel like this one might be one where they feel like they need to try too hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I think if they go out there and do their thing, then this one is going to be a match that could potentially steal the entire show.
Okay.
Because both, I mean, we've seen how great Io is in the ring. And I said this last week, I want to see 2015 Bayley back. Not necessarily the gimmick, but just the fire behind her of untouchable, being one of the best in the ring, being able to put on match after match after match that's amazing, and come out with a big win. Like I think she, out of anyone other than Cody on WrestleMania, she needs to win this the most to solidify her as a legitimate champion. Because everything else, I mean, you could make the argument everything prior was in the shadow of Sasha. And now, no Sasha. There's nobody there. It's just Bayley. If she can get this win and have a pretty decent reign with it, I think it's going to solidify her up there as with Bayley and with Charlotte and with Becky and with Charlotte and with Sasha.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think she needs this win. We've been talking for a long time about when is Damage Control going to break up? It seems like they take another twist and turn. I don't think this leads to it. Like the full disintegration of it, but I just wonder, like, how does Io recover not having the title? How do all those girls not get lost in the shuffle and not feel like big deals? Maybe Bayley goes and faces Asuka at the next pay-per-view because, she's not done with Damage Control yet, or, whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm with you. I think if given the time, given the right spotlight, I think these two will do some fantastic work. One more match on the card, the 6-man tag street fight, Karrion Kross and the AOP versus the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. Should be an interesting match, though, man. It's a street fight. It's just going to be chaos. Do you think anything comes from, last Friday we saw Bobby get attacked in the back, and then we saw the Street Profits lose the qualifying match for the 6-pack challenge. We saw Angelo Dawkins going back and leaving his partner, and then Montez getting pinned. Anything come of that, you think?
Man, I don't know. They tease groups breaking up every other week, it seems like. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to believe and what not to believe. I do know this is the match of Mania weekend that I just don't care about at all.
We said
because I really like Karrion Kross.
We said that about Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania 38.
Right.
But
we also said that because Johnny Knoxville is not a real wrestler.
I know, but we said it, and what happened?
Right. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was the match that I have gone back probably the most from that Mania to go back and watch. Outside of Cody returning, probably. I don't get the direction they're trying to go in with Karrion Kross and this group, because it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. And no matter what they try to do, he just doesn't connect with the main roster fans. And it might be something where he needs to go back to NXT for a little bit.
Yeah.
And bring back the old Karrion Kross, the
shave his head,
and go after it. Bring back the entrance, bring back all of it, and let him go be the threat down there that he was, and then bring him up to the main roster. Because I think out of all the damage Vince has done to a lot of characters, Karrion Kross is the one guy that can't seem to get over that damage that he did with that stupid mask and just taking everything away from him. And so maybe it starts with a win here at Mania. I don't see him connecting with the main roster audience that well right now.
No, I agree. I like the people they've surrounded him with. Yeah. I like Paul Ellering, and I like Scarlett, and I like AOP. I just don't know. I don't know what the story is there. Right. We're saying the same thing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what we're missing with him,
Right. And I'm not going to jump down this rabbit hole because obviously, like we said yesterday, we haven't watched this, but we have seen the tease at the end of the Bray Wyatt documentary of a Bo Dallas return as Uncle Howdy. Possibly that could be the feud where we get Uncle Howdy and Karrion Kross. Maybe Bo is now the leader of that whole new group of the Final Testament going forward, or something to just connect them with the crowd. He needs someone to help him get over, because nothing has. I mean, remember when he came in and was a threat to Roman Reigns right away, and then nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing happened.
Yep, nothing. All right. Well, nothing is not what happens on this podcast. We do a lot of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to Squared Circle Radio. Welcome to WrestleMania week. We appreciate you very much for taking the time to listen to our show. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, do yourself a favor. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribed. All the things, we would appreciate it. That's Andy York. My name's Chris Belcher, and we are here for you each and every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you find your podcast and on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us. Follow us on social media. That social media handle is right down there. Both of our individual ones are on the screen there. If you're listening to us, that's at SQCircle_radio. That's at Chris Belcher 24, and it's at Andy_SQR. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep it going. Let's give some rapid fire predictions and let's get out of here. Let's get ready for WrestleMania coming up this weekend. I know it's still a little bit early in the week, but we wanted to keep with our traditional schedule as much as possible. So let's do it, man. Final Testament versus The Pride, I guess is what it is. The Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. 6-man tag Philly street fight. Who you got?
Coin toss it, and I'll just go with the Final Testament. I think to get them a big win and hopefully push them forward a little bit.
I'll go opposite on you. I'll go Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, just because, just like the Final Testament, I don't know what their story is either, and I feel like this is just an easy babyface win. So I'm going to go babyfaces on this one. Bayley and Io Sky for the Women's World Championship, or the World Women's Championship, or the Women's Championship, whatever it's called. I don't even know. Some title.
I'm going to go with Bayley with the help of Bianca, Naomi, and Jade to get the job done.
All right, got to have a little interference. I like that. I'm going to stick with that prediction as well. I think Bayley gets it done, solidifies herself again as a main eventer, because she did great work in the pandemic. Nobody saw it. So let's see what she can do round 2. LA Knight and AJ Styles. I'm wearing the t-shirt, but I'm still going the other way. I'm going to go LA Knight. I think he's got to get a win. Question marks still hold over the head of AJ Styles.
Yep, but I, shockingly enough, am going the other way. I'm going with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, to pick up the win and hopefully go after a newly crowned champion right after WrestleMania.
All right. Fun stuff. Speaking of one of those champions, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Oh, World Heavyweight Championship. Tough to put a finger on what's going to happen here. What do you think?
It is. I don't necessarily see a scenario where Seth walks out with the world title. And we've kind of said that from the beginning. And so because of that, I think Drew McIntyre gets the win in front of all the fans and gets his moment finally, and is off and running with Punk towards SummerSlam.
I don't know. Starting to think that Seth Rollins might rise to. You know what? I'm sticking with it. Seth Rollins retains the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. He gets a big win thanks to losing the previous night. I think Rollins gets the win. I don't know what happens with Drew. Probably still gets involved with Punk. Maybe the title's not involved there, though. I'm going Seth. All right, U.S. Championship, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. Sticking with the champ again on this one.
Yep, I think Logan Paul gets the win in some heelish fashion with the brass knucks, wins it.
And KSI maybe gets involved. Jake Paul gets involved.
Probably.
Hey,
he's got that big Tyson fight. That big Tyson fight.
That's true. Maybe it's Jake and Logan Paul.
Maybe Tyson gets involved.
Hey, who knows? Could be interesting. All right. The big one, the main event. You said your lock a long time ago. Sticking with it. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship of the world.
I'm sticking with it for one reason and one reason only. Very vividly did they say, and very emphatically did they say, that if Cody Rhodes does not win, he will never challenge for that title again. And because of that fact, I don't see a way where he does not win this championship, because they saw what happened in AEW and it did not work, and he just pigeonholes them. And so I think because of that fact, Cody Rhodes is going to finally and thankfully finish his story at WrestleMania 40.
I'm just kidding. Cody Rhodes wins at WrestleMania 40. There's a side of me that sees a very clear scenario where he does not win the match.
Yep.
I can see it very clearly, but I think it's time. I'm going to predict Cody Rhodes wins at WrestleMania 40. We get the pyro, we get the celebration, and maybe we get an RKO afterwards. I don't know.
I think that's Monday.
You're probably right. It's probably Monday.
I will say this. I have a prediction for Monday, the Monday after Mania.
Okay, what you got?
We get a stare down and a face-to-face between Gunther and Ilya.
Oh, you think Ilya comes to the main roster? Okay.
I think he gets called up to the main roster, and I think he is the one to not only beat Gunther, but I think there might be a chance, and I would love it if they did it back-to-back, he might be Gunther's title reign.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Because I've heard reports of them wanting to push him to the same level that Gunther's being pushed. So I could see that happening some way.
Interesting. All right. I like that very much. The Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania is always supposed to be big. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't.
Last couple of years hasn't been.
Last couple of years has not. We'll see what happens this year. But we'll be right here to cover every bit of it on Squared Circle Radio. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe wherever you find your podcast. Make sure that you like the video on the YouTube channel. Make sure you tune in each and every week. Tomorrow, Fantasy Booking Show, the MCWF drops. Very excited to kick off month 3 of that show. And if you're behind on that show, we got 2 months of content back in our archives. Go back and check it out wherever you find your podcast. Andy, just a couple of days away from WrestleMania, man. How are we feeling?
I'm excited, nervous, but I'm ready for it. Again, favorite week of the year, favorite time of the year. It's just going to be a blast to sit down, watch it with you again in person. The last time we did that was WrestleMania 38 when we were in the building. This time we're going to sit at your house and watch it. And
you don't want to drive to Philly? I didn't tell you. We're going to drive to Philly. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, let's do it. Let's leave. Let's go Friday so I can meet Punk. That's fine with me.
Oh my goodness. We're not going to be in Philly, but we are going to be right here on our channel. Subscribe. We're going to go live right after WrestleMania and give you our immediate reactions. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been Squared Circle Radio. We'll catch you guys down the road.